up, everybody? Welcome here to Half-Ass Pod. It's your boy Corn. Now today, I'm bringing you guys an unusual story here in the tragedy of Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins. This story is definitely a tragedy. We got a guy, Roscoe Jenkins, pretty much comes from nothing, comes from this old country town, whatever, right? He talks about just making something of yourself. He's pretty much the Black Dr. Phil at this point. Very successful. And he's pretty much gotten to this point on his own. He's a single father. He's dating a hot chick, who, by the way, is a professional gold digger. I got Black Paris Hilton vibes with the girlfriend, though. Let's just say that. Everything seems to be going for Roscoe Jenkins at this point in his life. Except for one thing. His villainous son. Antagonist number 1. But not long after that, the next antagonist of this story, and that is Roscoe Jenkins Sr.
That's a lot of questions, boy.
Hey, Daddy.
Especially from someone who has shown very little interest in his family.
Yes, sir, but
If you can find the time to explore the mind of a stripper or sisters gone wild with your so-called family, then you can find the time to spend with your actual family.
So you've been watching?
Boy, don't disappoint your mother.
Although most people who have seen this movie would consider this to be a movie about family, but what most people don't realize is that it's actually the other way around. This is definitely a movie about how Roscoe Jenkins' family betrayed him until they used him and abused him until he had nothing left. And then we have another scene of where Darth Vader pretends to be a good father, but instead sarcastically throws shots.
Well, look who showed up. My grandson's father, Dr. R.J. Stevens. Been a long time, Dr. Stevens.
Dad, that's just a stage name.
Yeah, I know.
Darth Vader then continues to rub salt in the wounds of Roscoe as he brags on his cousin Clyde, who they, I guess, adopted when he was a young kid. I'm honestly surprised this guy hasn't even had a heart attack yet. I mean, he's got a nagging fiance. He's got an evil son. He's got Darth Vader as his dad, who continues to be an asshole throughout this entire movie. And when you think all the pain and suffering is done, he then has to run into his cousin Clyde and his high school sweetheart. And finally, we have antagonist number 3, Cousin Clyde. So Cousin Clyde and Roscoe pretty much competed in every facet of life, all the way until they were adults. But every single time, Clyde always won. Except for one time when there was a family race of some sort, and Roscoe just so happened to win. But even Clyde couldn't even let him live that one down. The entire family moved on from Roscoe ever since that race. And Roscoe, when he came back home with his family to go see his extended family, all they did was make sure that he had revenge on his mind. Now, so when Roscoe showed up to visit his family at this family reunion, he did not have revenge on his mind. But after seeing Clyde and Clyde pushing his buttons consistently throughout this movie, Roscoe had to climb deep out of his depression and set on revenge. So even through all of this, Roscoe still is holding on to that one last thread of hope, which is the love of his life, the real love of his life, his high school sweetheart. Now, he sits down and has a conversation with her, and she pretty much tells him that Clyde ain't shit and that they're just friends. So Roscoe then finds himself in deep conversation with her. And while they're in this magical moment, they are then harassed by Roscoe's own cousin, Mike Epps. But then he finds himself waking up the next morning to walk outside and sees his wife then being harassed once again by his cousin, Mike Epps. then has some father-son bonding with the son. And they do this at the family reunion at the baseball game. His son embarrasses him in front of everyone, which throws Roscoe into even deeper depression. But the tragedy does not end there. So Darth Vader then sets Roscoe's brother out to kill him. Roscoe survives the attack. But as Roscoe is walking home, he is then met by his sister, who attempts to finish the job. But even then, she couldn't finish the job. Roscoe survives her attack. Barely survives her attack. Then in the next scene, we get Roscoe and his dad, Darth Vader. They bond a little bit, but then his dad questions his loyalty to not only to the family, but his loyalty to his fiancée. Roscoe then tries to make peace and break bread with his cousin Clyde. Clyde attacks him during a game of dice. And an all-out brawl breaks out between the entire family, all the siblings and cousins. And then Darth Vader screams out and he says, "Get to the starting line." The final race starts. This is the big event that we've all been waiting for. This one event will take Roscoe Jenkins straight out of depression. This one event, one win. He's one win away from making his dad proud. This is the only thing that made Darth Vader proud, was winning this family race. So the race starts, and everybody's killing each other, trying to get from one point to the next. But little did we know that Roscoe Jenkins' own son was going to try and betray him during this race. But then we find him in the next scene costing his own dad the race. Yes, Roscoe then finds himself climbing into an even deeper depression. But then Roscoe finally pulls through. He wins the race, overcomes all of the obstacles that were put in front of him, only to find himself still being betrayed by the entire family. Not just by his brother, not just by his cousin Clyde, not just by their kids, and not just by his father, Darth Vader. But he finds himself to be betrayed by his only son. And this will drive Roscoe into an even deeper depression. As even through victory, his own son disowns him. I like to compare this moment to the Jon Snow moment, where everybody's circled around him and he was betrayed by his own people. It's exactly what happens in the tragedy of Roscoe Jenkins. Darth Vader decides to throw the dagger straight through the heart of his own son, Roscoe Jenkins. Roscoe then gives one last monologue before telling his family that he's leaving, but little did they know, and also little did he know, that they would never see each other ever again. A lot of people say about this movie, Roscoe Jenkins is a movie about family. So in the end, Roscoe realized that money and fame would cure his depression. So he ended up hopping back in the car, taking his fiancée, leaving the love of his life behind as he put his son up for adoption. As soon as they got back, Roscoe ended up dropping his fiancée off as well. So Roscoe was a single man living in Hollywood all this time. He went on to do a couple more movies, a couple more horrible movies, such as Big Mama's House 3 and Bad Boys 3. After Bad Boys 3 was released, Roscoe Jenkins has never been seen or heard of ever again. And that, to me, is why Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins, this is not a movie about family. This is a movie about the betrayal of family and the tragedy of Roscoe Jenkins. Make sure you guys hit that like and that subscribe. Again, it's your boy Corn, and I will see you guys next time.